It was the royal reunion 19 months in the making. Prince Harry has met with King Charles at Clarence House. Harry spoke with Anderson Cooper about the emotional trauma following his mother's death and accused Camilla, now Queen Consort, of weaponizing the British press to improve her own image. The clock hadn't even struck 7 when London felt a chill that wasn't in the weather. A jet touched down at Heathrow. No red carpet, no royal guard, just silence. Yet inside that silence, history was about to shift. Prince Harry was back, not for duty, not for reconciliation, but with something far heavier than luggage. Prince Harry is expected to return here for a charity event that also coincides with the 3-year anniversary of the Queen's death. Rumors suggest that he brought with him a recording, one that traces back to Queen Camilla a moment from 2022 that could shatter her carefully crafted image. For months, whispers of manipulation and betrayal have circled Buckingham Palace, but this is different. What Harry holds could turn those whispers into thunder. Inside the palace walls, officials are scrambling, phones ringing, faces pale. Did Camilla really cross a line even the Crown can't defend? And why did Harry choose now to return unannounced, unafraid, and armed with proof? Stay with us, because what's coming next might just shake the royal family to its core: the quiet return. London hadn't seen this side of Prince Harry in years. No red carpets, no smiling photo ops, no family reunions, just quiet footsteps and heavy purpose. The city that once cheered him as the beloved son of Diana now greeted him with flashing cameras, curious eyes, and questions no one dared to ask aloud. Why had he come back now unannounced, unguarded, and alone? Witnesses at Heathrow described the moment vividly. He stepped off the plane wearing a dark coat, no entourage, no security detail, only one carry-on bag and a small silver case that never left his grasp. One guard reportedly said he held it like his life depended on it. The air around him felt charged, as if London itself sensed that something had shifted in the royal rhythm. By the time news of his arrival reached the palace, the calm that had settled over the royal family was gone. Camilla, once dismissed by critics, but now enjoying a fragile wave of public approval. A woman who's evolved in the public eye quietly in the background. An image of almost pantomime villain to queen, had worked tirelessly to reshape her image. Charity events, polished interviews, gentle smiles, everything had been orchestrated to make the world see her as the steady hand beside King Charles. But Harry's sudden return cracked that illusion. It wasn't nostalgia that brought him home. It was reckoning. Sources close to him claimed this trip had been planned for months, but kept under wraps until the right moment. His representatives began reaching out to select journalists, choosing words carefully, avoiding any leaks. And yet, the whispers began almost instantly. Inside Buckingham Palace, aides exchanged anxious glances. "He's not here for family," one of them muttered. "He's here for the truth." For the first time in a long while, the Crown felt uneasy because when Harry came home, he brought more than just memories. He brought evidence, the hidden recording. It started as nothing more than a whisper, a faint echo from the past that refused to stay buried. Somewhere deep inside the royal circle, a conversation had been captured, one that was never meant to leave the palace walls. It wasn't a rumor this time. It was real. A recording is faint but sharp. The date, September 2022, just weeks before the passing of Queen Elizabeth Roman II. Buckingham Palace has announced Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth Roman II has died at the age of 96. The tone, cold, deliberate, and chilling. The voice on the other end, none other than Queen Camilla herself. According to a trusted insider, the file reached Prince Harry through someone inside the palace, a longtime staffer who had carried the weight of guilt for too long. The person couldn't sleep at night, knowing what had been said behind closed doors. When Harry received it, the message came with a single note: "You deserve to know the truth." As the recording played, the room fell silent. Harry's expression didn't move, but his heart must have raced. The words were cruel, cutting into memories that still bled. Camilla wasn't just discussing royal matters. She was mocking the woman whose shadow still lingered in every royal hall, Princess Diana. The other woman, a home wrecker, someone who destroyed a modern fairy tale, someone who lived in Princess Diana's shadow. In that short conversation, Camilla allegedly questioned Diana's legacy, suggesting it was overly romanticized, and even hinted that Diana's story was useful only when controlled properly. To many, those might sound like political comments, but to Harry it was personal, deeply personal. What stunned him more were the other parts, subtle remarks about keeping certain narratives alive and ensuring sympathy falls where it should. Insiders believe those lines referred to the years when Meghan and Harry were facing media attacks. It seemed to imply that someone within the palace, perhaps guided by Camilla, had a hand in steering public perception. For years, whispers surrounded Camilla's quiet power inside Buckingham Palace. She never raised her voice, never appeared controlling, but those who knew the system said she didn't have to. Influence in the palace doesn't come from shouting. It comes from suggestion, from knowing which doors to close and which stories to leak. And now, this recording seemed to confirm what many suspected. Camilla wasn't just a bystander in royal politics. She was part of the game. When Harry finished listening, there was a long, heavy pause. He didn't explode in anger. He didn't even speak for several minutes. Then, quietly, he looked at his friend and said one line that would echo through every wall of Buckingham. She wanted everyone to believe she was the victim. Not anymore. The timing couldn't have been more dangerous or more deliberate. Camilla had just stepped into a spotlight that took her decades to earn. King Charles was recovering, and she had been handling royal duties with grace. King Charles Roman III made his first public appearance in months today, returning to public duties. Or at least that's how it looked to the world. But Harry's return and the evidence he carried threatened to undo all of that. Because this wasn't just gossip, it was proof. And if the world ever heard what was on that recording, it wouldn't just shake the palace, it would burn through its walls. The question now wasn't if it would come out, but when, and perhaps more importantly, who would dare to release it. The breaking point: behind palace walls, tensions never really disappeared. They just learned how to hide. From the outside, Harry's California life seemed calm sunshine, charity work, and freedom. But peace is hard to find when the past keeps whispering your name. Even across an ocean, Harry couldn't stop watching how the royal story was being rewritten without him. He saw Camilla everywhere on magazine covers, giving speeches, smiling gracefully beside the king. Her reputation had transformed from the other woman to the queen who held the crown steady. Once known as the other woman, Camilla is now the queen, kind of. The new king's darling wife has become the queen consort. Meanwhile, headlines still called Harry the outsider, the troublemaker, the one who turned his back on duty. The same tabloids that once mocked his mother were now celebrating the woman she had once feared most. And that irony cut deep. In quiet moments, Harry's thoughts always returned to Diana. He remembered her tears, her long silences, her warnings about how power in the royal family really worked, the rumors, the manipulation, the way the truth was often rewritten to protect the wrong people. When he learned that Camilla might have been involved in hiding certain royal truths, something in him broke, not with rage but with conviction. The recording to him wasn't about revenge or scandal. It was about justice. It was about his mother. Protecting her name, even years after her death, had become the one battle he refused to lose. Close friends said Harry's decision came after he received another disturbing update. Several key palace documents from the Queen's final months had mysteriously vanished, papers that might have connected certain decisions to Camilla's growing influence. That was the final straw. The silence he'd been keeping for years turned into resolve. Late one evening, he made a call to his lawyer. No press, no announcement, no leaks, just a plan. Within days, travel arrangements were in place under a false schedule, a quiet flight booked under an alias, and in his carry-on, one small device, the recording that could change everything. He wasn't coming to London for headlines. He was coming for answers. His goal was simple but dangerous. Before the world heard it, the palace would, and once they did, nothing would ever be the same again. Camilla's panic. Music. When the whispers about the recording reached Camilla, witnesses said she froze mid-sentence. The color drained from her face as if the walls of the palace themselves had turned against her. One senior aide later revealed she didn't ask who told him. She just said he knows. That one line spoke volumes. It meant she recognized the voice, the timing, and the danger it posed. The palace had weathered countless storms before, affairs, betrayals, and family feuds, but this was different. This was a voice from within the gilded walls, a voice that could not be dismissed or spun. Within an hour, frantic calls were made. Advisors rushed to Clarence House. PR experts were flown in from abroad, and emergency meetings were held behind locked doors. The discussion wasn't about truth. It was about containment. How could they bury a secret already half exposed? Music, Camilla's closest confidants, begged her to stay calm. "We can fix this," one insisted, but she knew better. The recording, if released, wouldn't just tarnish her image. It could destroy the careful public redemption she had spent decades building. For years she had transformed from the other woman into the queen consort. Now that image hung by a thread. Attempts were made to reach out to Harry privately. Camilla allegedly wrote a letter herself, apologetic but guarded, hoping to appeal to his emotions rather than his anger, but the letter never reached him. Harry's team returned it unopened. "He doesn't want your words," an aide reportedly said. "He wants the truth." Meanwhile, inside Buckingham Palace, panic turned into fear. King Charles, recovering from his health issues, was informed late in the evening. Those present described his reaction as one of heartbreak, not anger. He said it felt like history repeating itself, one insider claimed, referring to the explosive scandals that haunted the monarchy decades earlier. But outside the palace, the world had already caught the scent of scandal. Journalists scrambled for leads. Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube lit up with speculation and hashtags. #Camilla tapes, #Royal Truth, #Diana was right. Memes, theories, and old interviews resurfaced within hours. Camilla's press team dismissed it all as fictional nonsense, but the denial only fueled curiosity. The public wasn't just watching, they were waiting. And for the first time in years, the woman who once seemed untouchable realized she was standing at the edge of a royal storm that no amount of charm could silence, the evidence that shook the palace. The following morning, chaos hit the palace gates. Reporters gathered, helicopters hovered, and television networks ran live coverage. Prince Harry returns with explosive evidence that dominated every screen. Inside, tension was unbearable. Staff were warned not to leak anything, but details still slipped out. Someone close to Harry revealed that he had already shared the recording with 2 trusted journalists, one in the UK and another in the US. It wasn't just about exposing Camilla. It was about ensuring the truth couldn't be buried again. The tape allegedly included not only Camilla's comments, but also proof of her involvement in controlling certain narratives about Diana, Meghan, and even the late Queen's final appearances. For the first time, the royal family's polished surface began to crack publicly. Commentators called it the most dangerous moment for the monarchy since the Diana years. People demanded transparency. memes, debates, and podcasts. Everyone had a theory. Some defended Camilla, calling it a setup. Others believed this was Harry's long-awaited moment of justice. One thing, however, was certain: whatever was on that tape had the power to rewrite royal history. The royal divide. The shock waves didn't stop at the palace gates. They split the royal family down the middle. What had begun as whispers became a full-blown divide between brothers who once shared everything. Prince William, always the voice of caution, was said to be livid. Those close to him described a private confrontation that ended with him slamming his hand on the table. "You can't undo this once it's out," he warned Harry. "You'll destroy everything our mother wanted us to protect." But Harry's response, quiet yet cutting, left William speechless. "It's already broken. I'm just showing the cracks." That line echoed through the halls of Kensington and Buckingham alike. It wasn't just rebellion. It was truth from a man who had stopped believing in the institution that shaped him. Behind closed doors, King Charles was in agony. Advisers said he spent hours pacing his study at Clarence House, torn between his duty as monarch and his role as husband. Defending Camilla meant preserving the crown, but at what cost? For a man who had fought his entire life to earn public respect, this was a choice that no king should ever face. One aide whispered, "He looked older overnight." Charles's request was simple yet desperate: destroy the recording, end the scandal before it could take root. But Harry was no longer that obedient prince who once followed royal rules. He had learned from years of manipulation and silence. Multiple digital copies were already encrypted and hidden away, safe from deletion, safe from denial. In public, the palace maintained its polished calm. A brief statement called for privacy and unity. But behind that facade, crisis meetings ran day and night. Every department, from communications to security, was on high alert. Camilla, meanwhile, vanished from the spotlight. Officially, it was due to ill health. Unofficially, it was fear. The woman who had once charmed the nation with warmth and wit now stayed behind guarded doors. Her every move monitored for leaks. Even royal loyalists began to waver. Social media was filled with clips of Diana's haunting interview. "There were 3 of us in this marriage," and viewers connected the dots all over again. Well, there were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded. And at the center of it all, Harry waited in silence. No press appearances, no social media statements, just quiet determination, because he knew that sometimes the loudest truth is the one you let the world uncover on its own. Music the leak. 3 days later, the storm truly broke. Out of nowhere, a video surfaced online, posted not by a journalist or royal correspondent, but by an anonymous account with no followers, no history, and a username made of random letters. The clip was short, barely 45 seconds, but it didn't need to be longer. The voices were faint but recognizable, and one of them, sharp, cold, and commanding, belonged unmistakably to Queen Camilla. In the recording, she was allegedly heard discussing how certain media stories could be redirected to draw public sympathy away from Meghan Markle and refocus it toward the monarchy. The phrasing was strategic, manipulative, almost rehearsed. "It's about balance," she said at one point, her tone dripping with authority. "They need to remember who the crown belongs to." That single line set social media on fire. Within minutes, #Camilla leak and #royal manipulation trended across platforms. News anchors paused live broadcasts to play the clip. Some viewers doubted its authenticity, but many didn't. They heard the same tone that Diana once described as the quiet cruelty hidden behind royal charm. The palace stayed silent. No denial, no clarification, just a void of words that said more than any statement could. Investigators traced the upload to a London-based IP address, but the source disappeared as quickly as it appeared. Theories exploded. Some claimed Harry leaked it himself as a warning. Others insisted it was a palace insider seeking justice. Regardless of who did it, The fallout was immediate. Old headlines about Camilla's affair, Diana's heartbreak, and royal manipulation resurfaced across the world. As the chaos grew, cameras caught a single powerful image. Prince Harry walking past Buckingham Palace gates, expression unreadable, shoulders squared. He didn't speak a word. He didn't need to. The world was already listening, the aftermath. Days turned into weeks. Yet the storm refused to settle. The story dominated every headline, every breakfast table, every talk show. Outside Buckingham Palace, crowds gathered holding signs that read, "Truth for Diana and no more secrets." Social media became a battlefield, some defending the monarchy, others calling for Camilla's resignation. Even international broadcasters joined in, running bold headlines like the scandal that could end the British monarchy. Petitions began circulating online demanding that Queen Camilla step away from royal duties until the matter was fully investigated. Late night, comedians turned the royal silence into a recurring punchline, and even world leaders suddenly commented on the crisis, calling it a test of integrity for one of the world's oldest institutions. Amid the chaos, one detail emerged quietly but powerfully. Prince Harry never wanted to bring down the crown. This wasn't about vengeance or rebellion. A close friend speaking to the Times revealed Harry's not angry anymore. He's free. For him, freedom meant truth. Truth that had been buried under decades of manipulation and polished press releases. Harry had spent his life under scrutiny, misunderstood and misrepresented. But this time he didn't defend himself. He didn't need to. The truth spoke for him. Meanwhile, Camilla reportedly retreated to her private estate, canceling all remaining engagements. Officially, the palace maintained its stance of unity and support. But behind closed doors, tension rippled through every corridor. King Charles, torn between duty and family, said to be exhausted and heartbroken, and the public divided yet awake. Some hailed Harry as a brave son, finally standing up for his mother's memory. Others labeled him reckless, accusing him of endangering the monarchy. But one thing was undeniable after this. The royal story could never return to what it once was. The illusion had cracked, and the truth had finally stepped into the light. So here we are at the edge of a royal storm no one saw coming. A prince returns not with a crown, but with truth. A queen faces the echo of her past, and a family built on silence finally meets its reckoning. What happens next could decide the monarchy's future, whether it stands or falls under the weight of its own secrets. Was Harry right to bring this evidence forward, or has he opened a door that can never be closed? One thing's for sure, this time it's not about titles or tradition, it's about truth. The world is watching. The palace is quiet. And history once again is being rewritten not by kings, but by the son who dared to speak. If you want to know what happens next in this royal drama, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Charles and Camilla kept their relationship mostly out of the spotlight as they both faced heavy criticism. In 1996, Charles and Diana's divorce was officially finalized, marking the end of their troubled marriage. The royal family was deeply affected by the scandal, and the media remained fixated on their personal lives. Nearly a decade later, in 2005, Charles and Camilla finally got married despite lingering controversy. Camilla's wedding to Charles in 2005. While their union brought closure to their long and complicated history, it could not erase the past or change how people viewed Diana's role in the story. However, shocking details about their marriage recently surfaced, and even Prince Harry has confirmed them, but more on that later. Diana's life after separation from Charles. After parting ways with Charles, Diana's life remained under intense media attention. One of the most talked about aspects of her post-marriage years was her own romantic involvement. During the late 1980s and early 1990s, she had a well-known relationship with James Hewitt, a man who played a significant role in her life. Some saw this relationship as Diana's way of reclaiming control after Charles's long-standing affair with Camilla became public knowledge. But who was James H. and how did he become so closely connected to Diana? Born on April 30th, 1958 in Durham, England, James came from a wealthy background. His family had a strong military tradition, and he followed in their footsteps by pursuing a career in the British Army. He studied at prestigious schools, attending the Dragon School in Oxford before enrolling at Eton College, one of the country's most elite institutions. After completing his education, he joined the military and became an officer in the Royal Artillery. It was during this time that his life took an unexpected turn, one that would forever link him to Princess Diana. While training to become a tank commander at the Sandhurst Military Academy, his path crossed with hers, setting the stage for one of the most talked-about relationships of that era. James H. was admired for his charm, good looks, and athletic skills, making him well-liked among his peers, and later catching the attention of Princess Diana. However, it was his role in the military and his royal connections that ultimately led to their meeting. Diana first crossed paths with James while he was serving as an instructor for the Household Cavalry, an elite unit of the British Army. At that time, she was still married to Charles, but their relationship was already falling apart. She felt lonely, unappreciated, and emotionally distant from her husband, who had rekindled his relationship with Camilla. Feeling abandoned, Diana found comfort in James. Princess Diana rarely experienced a dull moment, but when it came to her passionate affair with writing instructor James H. whose warm personality and easygoing nature made him stand out from the strict formal world of the royal family. What began as a simple friendship soon grew into something deeper. James provided Diana with the emotional support and companionship she had been missing, and over time their connection turned into a secret romance. They tried to keep their relationship private, but with Diana's high-profile status, it was not long before whispers of their affair spread. By 1992, their relationship was no longer a secret, as British tabloids exposed the affair to the public. For many, Diana's involvement with James was seen as her way of reclaiming control over her life after enduring years of emotional hardship in her troubled marriage. Some believed Diana's involvement with James was her way of responding to Charles's long-standing affair with Camilla. At a time when she was constantly in the public eye, their relationship became one of the most widely discussed aspects of her personal life. Many saw it as Diana's attempt to reclaim her independence and show that she too could follow her heart. However, their relationship was not without difficulties. The relentless media attention that had already caused Diana immense stress only worsened once their affair was exposed. At first, James enjoyed the attention that came with being linked to the princess, but he soon found himself under intense scrutiny as well. The constant presence of paparazzi and public speculation put a strain on their relationship, making it harder for them to maintain any sense of normalcy. Despite these challenges, Diana and James remained together for several years. He had been a strong emotional support for her during the most difficult moments of her marriage. However, as time went on, it became clear that their relationship could not last. James, who had once been her safe haven, was now struggling with the overwhelming pressures of being connected to the most famous woman in the world. Meanwhile, Diana continued to deal with the emotional aftermath of her failed marriage to Charles. By the early 1990s, her connection with James began to fade, and in 1992, they officially ended their relationship. Even though their time together had come to a close, James had played a significant role in Diana's post-divorce journey. Their affair had given her a sense of control over her own happiness, something she had rarely felt during her time with Charles. After parting ways, James returned to his military career before moving on to other pursuits. Like many who had been close to Diana, he became part misconstrued. Years before her Trasgtiucdiedendlessly princessa, one lingering rumor from their time together would go on to shake the very foundation of the British monarchy. A childhood caught in chaos, the impact of the royal divorce on Prince Harry. Prince Harry's early years were anything but ordinary. As a member of the royal family, he was always in the public eye. But beyond the glamorous events and royal duties, his personal life was full of turmoil. The troubled marriage of his parents, Charles and Diana, was not just a headline. It was a storm that shaped his childhood. While the world focused on the public unraveling of Diana and Charles's relationship, the real impact was felt behind closed doors, especially by their two sons. Harry, born in 1984, was just a toddler when tensions between his parents became undeniable. His older brother, William, born in 1982, was slightly older. Prince William is the eldest son of Charles and the late Princess Diana, born William Arthur Philip Louis Windsor on June 21, 1982. But both boys were caught in the emotional whirlwind of their parents' failing marriage. The affair between Charles and Camilla was not just a scandal splashed across newspapers. It was a painful reality for Harry. As a child, he did not fully understand the complexities of adult relationships, but he could feel the shift in his family dynamic. His mother's heartbreak, the constant media attention, and the growing distance between his parents were impossible to ignore. By the early 1990s, the royal family's struggles were no longer private. Diana's emotional battles, her own attempts to find love, and the way she was treated within the palace walls became hot topics in the media. For Harry and William, it was a nightmare they had no control over. The pressure of growing up under constant scrutiny, combined with the pain of their family falling apart, left wounds that would stay with them for years. Harry was only around 10 years old when his parents officially separated in 1992. At such a young age, he could not fully grasp the weight of everything happening around him, but he could feel the tension, the sadness, and the unspoken words that lingered in the air. His bond with both his parents would be forever shaped by those difficult years. Harry's rebellion and a strained bond with his father after the divorce. Harry's relationship with his father had always been complicated, but his parents' separation only made things worse. It was difficult for him to reconcile the image of his father as the future king with the reality of a man who had hurt his mother. While William, the older brother, often tried to keep the peace, Harry reacted differently, expressing his emotions in ways that would later make headlines. As a child, he struggled to accept his parents' divorce, especially knowing that his father had been unfaithful. The official split in 1996 was a highly publicized event, with both Charles and Diana sharing their sides of the story through interviews and public statements. This left Harry and William caught in the middle of a deeply personal conflict that played out for the entire world to see. For Harry, the divorce was a turning point. It changed the way he viewed his role in the royal family and his place in the world. As he entered his teenage years, he found it harder to balance royal expectations with the emotional weight of his past. Unlike William, who was being prepared for future leadership, Harry seemed to push against the restrictions of his royal duties, often acting out in ways that set him apart. Harry's struggles and the rumors that haunted him, the intense media attention surrounding Charles and Diana's divorce, placed enormous pressure on Harry. Despite this, Diana did everything she could to protect her sons from the relentless scrutiny. She remained a devoted mother, always offering them love and guidance. However, the stress of her separation combined with her own struggles took a heavy toll on her. While she fought for her independence, her emotional challenges sometimes made it difficult for her to fully shield her children from the chaos. Harry's relationship with his father remained complicated after the divorce. Although Charles was still present in his life, their bond was never the same. Charles was often seen as distant and emotionally reserved, especially during Harry's teenage years. This lack of warmth from both parents left Harry feeling alone and misunderstood, which only fueled his rebellious nature. However, what hurt him the most was something far more personal, something he would later speak about publicly. For years, rumors swirled about Harry's paternity. A long-standing theory widely reported in the media suggested that Major James H. Witt, former British Army officer and Diana's lover, might have been his real father. The speculation was not just a passing story. It became a deeply rooted belief, fueled by the physical resemblance between Harry and Hewitt, as well as their shared military ties. Even Harry himself was led to question the truth. James Hewitt became a controversial figure in the 1980s due to his relationship with Diana. Their affair lasted for several years and became one of the most talked about scandals involving the royal family. His connection to Diana would later lead to relentless speculation about Harry's origins, rumors that would follow him for decades. The rumors surrounding Harry's paternity. James was known for his rugged and confident personality, very different from the more reserved and formal nature of Prince Charles. This stark contrast fueled speculation that James might be Harry's real father. The theory gained traction due to several reasons, with one of the most talked about being their similar appearances. Harry's red hair, a rare trait in the royal family but common in James, led many to believe there was more to their resemblance than mere chance. As Harry grew older, people could not help but notice how much he looked like the man Diana had once been romantically linked to. The media played a major role in keeping the speculation alive, frequently comparing photos of the two and highlighting their similar features. Another reason the rumors persisted was their shared military background. Harry served in the British Army, rising through the ranks and even participating in combat missions in Afghanistan. This mirrored James' own career in the military, adding another layer to the ongoing comparisons. For Harry, dealing with these rumors was particularly challenging. Growing up under constant media scrutiny, he was repeatedly confronted with speculation about his paternity. At one point, he even found himself questioning whether the rumors could be true, making an already complicated childhood even more difficult. For years, Harry did not question the speculation surrounding his paternity. The rumors were so widespread and the media pushed them so aggressively that they almost became accepted as truth. Now at 40, Harry has finally addressed the matter directly. Over time, he came to understand the reality. His mother's relationship with James began only after he was born, since Harry was born in 1984, and Diana's affair with James started later. It was simply not possible for James to be his father. In a public statement, Harry set the record straight, emphasizing that, despite the media's persistence, the claim was false and easily disproven. His father was without question Prince Charles. Yet, even after his clarification, the rumors refused to fade, something that continues to frustrate him. The media just won't stop, even when new facts prove the rumors are wrong. This constant talk about his father led Harry to take legal action against the press, especially against those who kept spreading stories about his paternity. His legal steps are a clear response to the ongoing rumors, mainly about James Hewitt being his father, a claim that has been shown to be false. Even though the truth is out, these rumors still affect Harry and continue to cause him emotional pain. So, what is the next in this story? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and thank you for watching.